And another protest occurred inside the United Nations General Assembly. This time, the protest was by the Israeli ambassador to the United Nations. It did not end particularly well. He was dragged out of the General Assembly and detained. He joins us, the permanent representative of Israel to the United Nations, Gilad Erdan. Nice to see you, sir.
Thank you for having me, Greta.
All right, so first of all, I guess the First Amendment we could say is alive and well in the United States when we see those protests. It's all peaceful, so this is all good.
Yeah, we stick to our democratic values so strongly that we export them all across the world. You could see Israeli protesters from both sides of the aisle coming here to New York. I have to say, I'm smiling, but inside I'm pretty sad because, you know, the Israelis, they can easily, freely protest in Israel. That's where the decision will be made. And coming here to New York, during, you know, the high-level week of the UN, when we want to draw the attention to the real problems of the world, the human rights violations taking place in Iran, the Palestinian anti-Semitism, the atrocities in Syria, and instead, you know, our citizens are coming here and taking the attention to the only vibrant democracy in the Middle East.
So what happened to you? When what were you protesting? And it was inside, you held up a picture?
Yeah, I came to the speech of the Iranian President Raisi. And by the way, I saw a very moving exhibition here on the streets of New York of women who were murdered by this ruthless Iranian regime. So I decided we commemorated 1 year to the murder of Mahsa Amini, that her brutal murder by the Iranian regime ignited, you know, a whole wave of demonstrations all across Iran. And after that, they executed many protesters. So I wanted to draw the attention of the world to the fact that inside the UN that was founded in order to prevent atrocities after Second World War, after the Holocaust, they accept President Raisi. They give him, you know, the red carpet treatment, as if he's like a respectful leader, without, you know, telling him the truth about the atrocities that he's committing inside his country.
Okay, so you weren't arrested, you were detained.
Detained, yeah. I held peacefully, silently, I held up.
Are there any rules prohibiting that? I mean, you know, were there rules that say you can't hold up pictures inside the...
Look, it's not that I studied all the rules. I remember very well many times that ambassadors, when the war in Ukraine started, so they held signs with the Ukrainian flag to show their support, solidarity with the Ukrainian people. They were never detained. I was dragged forcefully outside of the General Assembly's hall. But thank God, what they did to me, and we all know that Israel is facing a strong bias against us at the UN.
You know, what's sort of interesting is that you know, what protests do, what your protest did, is that it's certainly because, I mean, an ambassador doesn't usually get detained. I mean, that's unusual. It draws greater attention to what happened to the woman in Iran who died a year ago when she was arrested by the morality police for her hijab was improperly placed. So, I mean, so you did achieve getting the attention. I mean, you're here. You've been on other news organizations talking about it. Otherwise, probably no one would be talking about it.
That's very sad, but that's another example of the moral distortions of the UN that, you know, they accept, as I said, mass murderers like the butcher of Tehran, President Raisi, and they condemn Israel, 70% of their condemnations, more than Iran, Syria, Russia, North Korea combined. So I have no other choice but to find ways to draw the attention. And thank God, this time, the whole, even Muslim world, I get like thousands of emails and messages from Iranians all across the globe that now they understand that Israelis stand in solidarity with the people of Iran.
In 2021, I think it was, I looked up, the United States contributed or paid $12.5 billion to the UN. This year, there were a number of countries, like the Prime Minister of England didn't show up, the President of France didn't show up, the President of China didn't show up. These, you know, the permanent members of the National Security Council. President Putin, he didn't show up. I'm sort of giving him a pass because he has an arrest warrant outstanding, and I'm not so sure I'd test that one either if I were him. But has the UN lost some of its global importance or not?
Definitely.
Is it worth $12.5 billion?
I'm not advising your administration how to allocate its budget, but I can testify that, yes, the UN lost a lot of its credibility, and definitely after the war in Ukraine erupted, now the Security Council is almost paralyzed. I mean, I feel that for sure they cannot prevent any wars or conflicts, national, political, religion conflicts. It has some advantages, but, well, I don't know if it's worth the cost. That's up to you to decide. You're the biggest supporters, contributors to the UN. We have a lot of complaints against the UN. We definitely want to defund some of its bodies like UNRWA that, you know, allows the Palestinians to continue to include anti-Semitic content and teach the Palestinian kids that Israel shouldn't exist, and many complaints that we have, but it's not only up to us.
Ambassador, nice to see you, sir. Hope you come back, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What an honor to be here.